Welcome. It is time for the PPPPP-LO show. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Yes, thank you. Man, I love you guys. You guys show the best love out there, period, hands down. You're the best. All right. So, on the way to work again, and it seems like it was less than 11 hours ago, I was on the way home from work. So yeah, that's the way it pretty much goes in this day and old life for me. But today I had the grand privilege of going to my Spreaker and CRO and going by, and guess what? My therapist at Spreaker, after 2 weeks, had still yet to talk to my CRO officer. Yeah, and see, that right there is what I'm talking about. It was more along the lines of what the problem is in the legal system. These two, because hell, it was a trickle effect. Okay, well, give y'all the background and rundown on how this went, how I ended up in this situation. Well, DHR had fucking showed up at someone else's house, right, to do a follow-up for something about how the people had been mistreating an elderly woman, the people's mother, okay? So they searched the house. Keep in mind, it was the second trip there, so this is the trip. And normally they come out the first time, and then, they come back out the second time, then they piss test everybody, yada yada. All right, everybody there that was pissed failed. And so during the process of the search, which they had a sheriff with them, they said they found a rig, okay? And so they stated that the rig belonged to a female who was not present at the time, but she'd been staying with them. So with that being said, DHR decided, and the dude said that she might be down at our house. So DHR had no qualms or no nothing about, they decided that they would ride down to our place, and when they showed up, guess what? She was not there. Alright, so then DHR proceeds to have us call this said woman and tell her that they were here at our house, which she does not live. She lived at the house they were just at, because why would the fuck they DHR show up at our place as for a rig left at somebody else's house? Yeah, I know. Sounds fucking idiotic, moronic, or some shit. Yeah. So in the process of them waiting or whatever, so hell, we're thinking that they're there for somebody else, and hell, it's July 23rd, so it's hot as shit. Now, so my old lady tries to be fucking nice or whatever, and then advises me or whatever. The house is clean, there's nothing out of place or nothing. But my little 5-year-old grandyoungin at the time, he's there they were out cleaning the yard, actually, when they pulled up. And so, therefore, they decide to come in and say, hey, well, you know what, we got 2 anonymous reports on y'all so we're going to have to piss test y'all. This is after the lady shows up that they had us call, that doesn't live there. Okay, so, after I asked the lady, the blonde-headed lady, who I'm thinking is part of DHR, because she's pretty much taking control of the whole situation, yada yada. And me being, one, I'm black, one, I'm not blood or married legally, so I'm not legally the granddad, but I've been there raising him since he was a 1.5 years, and he's 5, so I see him as my grandyoungin, being he's my old lady's grandson. And so I told her, I said, she asked if I lived there, and I told her that I'm there usually on the weekends or whatever, but it was a Monday, and that I didn't work that day, so I was there. So, but I'm usually every other weekend or something. And she said, well, if I want any part in my grandyoungin's life, that I'd have to take a piss test. And I said, what if I refuse? She tells me that if I refuse, that she could fail me for anything she wants. So I'm like, whoa, it's pretty intense. Okay, so I proceed to pee in a cup. I tell her what I fill it for, and I fill for it. Okay. Next, then she piss tests my stepdaughter. And comes to find out, that tells her that she fell for marijuana and exposure. Yes, exposure to meth. Now, in this time, my grandyoungins' father, biological father, happens to take him and his son, and they slip off. So the DHR makes us fucking go find them, pick them up, and bring them back. So they come back with the grandyoungin, and they say, no, they got to have the father too. Okay, so they go back and get the father, bring him back. Okay. And the other person said, the other person who had left the thing exposed, she fails. Okay, and so now they're talking about taking the youngins. But they say if the said lady's baby father could come and pass a piss test, that he could leave with him, right? Okay. So he shows up, he pisses clean, and guess what? He leaves with his youngin. Now, back to my grand-youngin. Now we have the mother and my old lady, who was the grandmother. They both fell. Okay, I fell, and guess who else is still there? The father's still there, right? Well, they know he's there because he's left. They made us go get him. But yet, DHR does not piss test him. Right? Tell me about it. I know what you're thinking. Okay. But now, here's the kicker. Being that DHR, they piss tested everybody, including one who's not even biologically or anything related to the youngin. But the father was standing there, but they did not piss test him whatsoever. But yet, and then before they left, they decided they would take my grand-youngin. Oh yes, they did. They took the grand-youngin with the father being present and not even testing him. Oh, yeah, so, yes. Okay, so now, fast forward a little bit. Come to find out. Okay, so they're like, well, if anything shows up in his hair, in the grand-youngin's hair follicle test, then charges could be filed. Okay, so they put him in foster care. And upon his foster care, after all is said and done, well, next thing you know, hell, we find out that the foster parent that he was with had fucking ended up getting her kids taken, and the foster care kids taken, because it comes to the light about how she would make kids go to bed without eating, and forcing them to take cold showers because if they were acting up. And yes, my grand-youngin happened to be a victim of one of these heinous acts. Yes, I know. There's a lot of bullshit going on. Okay, but prior to that, there was a detective that come out, and like a month after the June 23rd, it was like September 20th something. Alright, but it stated that he came out and said in these exact words that he was there on behalf of DHR because of a positive hair follicle test for my grand-youngin. But there was warrants, but he said that nobody was going to jail that day because, okay, now so why they show up with warrants, but yeah, they choose not to take nobody to jail, but they come to ask to do a search because at this time my old lady and her stepdaughter, or my stepdaughter, they're gone because they had just they were going to see the grand-youngin down or whatever, and so next thing, so it's like ironic. The irony of it is just weird because of the way it went. So he questioned me. He questioned the other woman the next day, but he never any further questioned my old lady or my stepdaughter in the matter. So but he was doing his job. He was even called several times when they came back to and notified that they were back, but he still never showed. And so therefore, I mean, how the hell is a thorough investigation done thoroughly if you've got 4 warrants and you only talk to 2 people? Yeah, I know. It only gets better. Okay, so this is about the time we figure out that the one chick who was running the show the whole time when DHR come, kind of found out she was not even DHR. She was just the woman who administers piss tests. Had her own company or whatever, so she worked per se with DHR. But she acted just like DHR, acted like she knew everything. While the other lady that was actually DHR was down, she spent every time you asked her a question, she had to go get on her phone to call somebody. So it was basically, man, like some damn, and I knew something was fucked up about it from the get-go. Alright, so now with that being said, now we move along to the court thing. Okay, the day they go to court to see if my old lady's other family can get custody, that day, just so happens, guess who shows up? The Dale County Sheriff shows up with warrants. Okay, the same day of the court. Hey, can you believe that was one time, right? They went to court that morning. The warrants were still pending, but they went to court. My old lady and my stepdaughter. They walked out fine. Nothing. They had warrants because they had been waiting. They had warrants when they knew about them for a month now. All right, so then we find out they have to end up going to court again sometime after I got out of jail. And guess what? My stepdaughter goes to court. Well, my old lady turns herself in. The other woman gets arrested the same day with me because she just so happened to just show up there. And so later on, and my stepdaughter still has yet to see any type of ramifications for her warrant. And she even went to another court hearing while she had on warrants. So she went to court twice with warrants and still walked out. Yes, I know. Thorough investigation. Crack team of fucking things right here. Now, so my chart, they ended up charging with a chemical endangerment. Hold on 1 second for a quick small break. Alright, so that's 2 court trips and with a warrant. And she walks out fine, unscathed. Okay, so now we're at the point where we go to court and what chemical endangerment of a child. So I'm thinking this is all bullshit. So I tell my public defender, like I said, man, I'll accept nothing less than complete total dismissal of this shit. Because one, my grand youngin had not been staying with us. He'd been staying at another place with his mother at her boyfriend's. So he just so happened to show up that evening because he had a pre-K thing. And that's where they had to go clean a house afterwards, so that he stayed with my old lady. And so, I mean, like I said, so that's what, like, guilty by fucking timing or some shit, which is fuck shit. But anyway, so, hell. At this point, I mean, like I said, so they come in, take a child. Don't even piss test the father, but they piss test somebody who's not blood, unmarried, legally tied to the point. And oh yeah, by the way, did I mention that the sad part lady, when her husband came and pissed clean, right?
Got the 5-piece.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. And so, keep in mind, her husband now, that got her son, they were actually legally still married. So that made him the legal grandfather to my grandyoungin, which would have made it should have been that he could have been placed in his custody. But no, they did not piss test the father, who was legally the biological, or they did not piss test the grandfather, who was legally by marriage the grandfather. But yet they still took the youngin. Well, but I mean, hell, I think I am pulling into work, but don't worry, y'all tune in a little later and I will finish this story about how I got bamboozled. Until then, and I'll tell you what, trust me, part 2 is very, very interesting because a lot of shit comes to the light and a lot of shit happens. But tune in to later on, and guess what? You'll get the full details. Peace. You've been listening to the PLO Show. Wow. The PLO Show. Damn!